Do you ever feel the presence of someone you've lost, as though they're still watching over you? Maybe it's a faint whisper in the wind, a familiar scent in the air, or an inexplicable feeling that they're just a step behind you. What if I told you that those moments aren't just your imagination? What if they're a sign that your loved one never really left? If you've ever experienced the heart-wrenching loss of someone close to you, you know that grief can be a long, painful journey. But during that journey, many people find themselves wondering, is my loved one truly gone? Or is there something more? Something I can't quite explain? In this video, we're diving deep into the possibility that those we've lost might still be around us in ways we never expected. Whether it's a feeling of peace that settles in your heart during a quiet moment, or a dream so vivid that it leaves you questioning reality, we're going to explore how God shows us that our loved ones never really left. From spiritual connections to the signs we receive every day, this journey will challenge everything you thought you knew about life, death, and the love that transcends it all. Stay with me as we unravel this mystery together. When someone we love passes away, the pain is often unbearable. But what if death isn't the end of the story? What if the connection we share with those we've lost doesn't disappear when they breathe their last breath? Many spiritual traditions and personal stories suggest that death may not be the boundary we think it is, and that our loved ones remain with us in ways we can't fully understand. One of the most powerful ways we feel the presence of those who have passed is through what we might call a spiritual connection. This isn't about ghosts or the supernatural, but rather a deep, enduring bond that transcends time and space. In many belief systems, it's said that the soul never truly leaves, that it continues to exist in a higher realm, watching over us. This idea can offer comfort to those of us grieving, showing that our loved ones are still with us, even if we can't physically touch them anymore. For instance, many people report experiencing signs of their loved ones just after their passing. A mother might feel the presence of her child when she's standing in the kitchen, suddenly overcome with the scent of their favorite perfume. Or a father may dream of his son in vivid, lifelike detail, feeling like the conversation they never got to finish continues on in that space. These experiences aren't just coincidental. They are deeply personal and often leave people with the sense that their loved ones are still somehow near, offering comfort in ways words can't explain. Science, of course, might explain these sensations away as dreams or fleeting moments of memory. But for many, these signs aren't so easily dismissed. People who experience these moments often say that they don't feel afraid, but rather comforted, as though their loved one is reaching out in the only way they can, from beyond the physical realm. In the world of psychology, there's a theory called the continuing bonds theory, which suggests that grief doesn't have to be about letting go, but about finding new ways to maintain a connection with the deceased. This theory aligns with many spiritual beliefs, where the bond remains intact, just evolving in its form. The idea that we can still communicate with our loved ones, or at least feel their presence, might be exactly what many of us need in the healing process. Even more striking are the stories that involve specific signs. Sometimes, they're so personal and precise that they seem to defy any logical explanation. A woman grieving the loss of her father might be walking down the street and see a butterfly land on a nearby flower. It's not just any butterfly, though it's the exact kind her father had admired in life. She feels that it's not a random occurrence, but a sign that he's still there, watching over her. These stories are so common and so deeply moving that they invite us to ask, Is it possible that our loved ones are still finding ways to reach out to us, even after death? The presence of loved ones can also be felt through what some people call messages or signs. Perhaps it's a song that comes on the radio that reminds you of them, or an unexpected encounter with a person who says something that seems to mirror exactly what your loved one would have said. These moments feel intentional, as if the universe is working in mysterious ways to send a reminder that love doesn't end with death. In the Bible, there are countless stories that speak to the idea of divine messages and signs, from the prophets who received messages from God in their dreams to the angels who appeared to guide people through times of hardship. The connection between the spiritual world and the earthly realm is well documented. Many people believe that their deceased loved ones can act as angels or spiritual guides, offering subtle nudges and signs to help them along their journey. Whether through dreams, feelings, or physical signs, God has a way of showing us that love and connection transcend even the barrier of death. It's comforting to think that, just as we are never truly alone in life, we are never really alone in death either. These signs are not just coincidences. They are ways in which God shows us that those we love are still with us in spirit, offering us peace, comfort, and hope when we need it the most. But while these spiritual connections may bring comfort, it's not always easy to believe in them. For many, the idea that a loved one could still be watching over them, communicating from the other side, feels impossible. Grief clouds our judgment, and the pain of losing someone often makes us question what's real and what's just our mind's way of coping. How can we be sure that these signs aren't just our imagination? Or worse, wishful thinking. The struggle to accept these signs is real. We live in a world that values logic, reason, and tangible proof. When something happens that doesn't fit into those neat categories, we tend to dismiss it, chalk it up to coincidence, or convince ourselves that it's just a product of our grief. It's easier to believe that we're simply imagining things than to entertain the idea that the boundary between life and death might be far more fluid than we think. This is where the challenge lies. How do we reconcile the deep emotional experience of feeling our loved ones near with the skepticism that comes from a world that often dismisses anything beyond what can be scientifically measured? It's difficult to open ourselves to the idea that love and connection don't end with death, especially when those signs are subtle and the logical part of us wants to deny them. But just because we can't see something doesn't mean it isn't real. Just because we can't touch it doesn't mean it's not there. So many people have had experiences that defy explanation, yet these experiences are real to them. For some, the idea of a loved one sending a message or a sign is a lifeline, a way of finding comfort in the midst of grief. For others, it might seem like an impossible notion, too surreal to consider. This internal conflict, the desire to believe versus the doubt that creeps in, is something that many of us face when we're looking for signs from the other side. But as hard as it is to accept, the reality is that sometimes we have to suspend our skepticism and allow ourselves to be open to the possibility that something more is going on, that perhaps these signs are real, and that love truly does persist beyond the grave. It's important to remember that just because we don't understand something doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Many people throughout history have experienced moments of divine intervention, messages from the other side, and spiritual connections that defy logic. And while some might dismiss these experiences as mere coincidence or wishful thinking, those who have had them know differently. Maybe, just maybe, the signs are real, and maybe, By letting go of the need for complete scientific proof, we can open ourselves to a deeper understanding of life, death, and the love that continues to bind us together, even when we can't see it with our eyes. Why do we crave these signs from our loved ones? Why do so many of us look for signs, whether they're in dreams, in nature, or through unexpected encounters? After we lose someone close to us, the answer lies in something very fundamental: the need for closure, comfort, and reassurance. Grief is a deeply personal experience, and it affects each of us differently. But one thing that seems universal is the desire to believe that our loved ones didn't simply disappear when they passed away. We want to feel that they're still a part of our lives, that the bond we shared remains intact. We want to believe that their love, wisdom, and presence aren't confined to the past, but that they continue to surround us, guide us, and protect us, even though they're no longer physically here. This need for ongoing connection isn't just about holding on to the past, it's about healing. Grieving is a process of learning how to live without someone we love, but it's also about finding a new way to relate to them, to continue the relationship in a different form. Many people find comfort in the idea that their loved one's soul lives on, and that they're still able to communicate with them, even if only in small, subtle ways. From a psychological perspective, this search for signs and continued connection is an important part of the healing process. It's about finding meaning in the midst of loss and discovering ways to integrate that loss into our lives without allowing it to define us completely. When we receive a sign, whether it's a dream, a feeling, or a simple occurrence that reminds us of the person we've lost, it can feel like a moment of comfort, a message that they are still with us, still part of our world, culturally and spiritually. The idea that our loved ones live on after death is a common belief. Many religions speak of an afterlife, where souls continue to exist in a different realm, and where communication between the living and the dead is possible. Christianity, for example, speaks of eternal life through Jesus, and many people believe that their loved ones are now in a place where they can watch over them. Other spiritual practices, like the belief in ancestors guiding the living, or the idea of spirit guides, also suggest that the ties between the physical and spiritual worlds are not severed with death. This need to feel connected goes beyond religion, though it's an instinct that runs deep in us as human beings. We want to know that the people we loved haven't vanished entirely, that they haven't been lost to time. For many, this is what drives the search for signs. These moments of connection help us to heal and move forward without forgetting the love we shared. The way we interpret these signs also reflects how we process grief and death. For some, they're a source of comfort, a sign of reassurance that their loved one is watching over them, offering guidance. For others, they might be a form of closure, helping them accept that their loved one's spirit is still part of their life, even if not in the physical sense. Some people find solace in the idea that their loved one's presence is felt in the natural world, through signs that seem to appear out of nowhere, a butterfly that appears when you're thinking about them, a feather found in an unexpected place, or even a song on the radio that perfectly captures a memory. These moments might not be easily explained by science or logic, but that doesn't make them any less real for those who experience them. They are personal, meaningful, and deeply comforting, offering a glimpse of a connection that exists beyond the physical world. And in a time when so much feels uncertain, these signs offer a sense of peace and stability. reminding us that love and connection don't end with death. They persist, and in their own way, they continue to guide us. At this point, you might be thinking, okay, I've heard of these signs before, but are they really enough to convince me that my loved one is still around? Can they really communicate with us? It's easy to dismiss these ideas as comforting stories or emotional responses to grief. But what if there's more to it than that? What if these signs, these strange, unexplainable moments, are actually a window into something much deeper, something that we aren't fully equipped to understand? Let me share a story that might change your perspective. A woman named Sarah had lost her father unexpectedly. The grief was overwhelming, and for months, she couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched over, that her father was still somehow with her. It was subtle at first, a feeling that someone was beside her when she was alone, or hearing his favorite song on the radio at just the right moment. She brushed these off as coincidences, until one day, as she sat in her living room, something happened that made her question everything. Sarah was sitting on the couch, feeling a deep sense of longing for her father. She reached for the TV remote to change the channel, but before she could, the TV turned on by itself. It wasn't just any random channel that appeared, though it was the news channel, and the very first thing she saw was a report on the local community center, which her father had been deeply involved in before he passed away. And the strange part, the report was about an event he had helped organize years before. He had always dreamed of that event being a success, and now, seeing it mentioned on the news, Sarah couldn't help but feel like it was a sign, a message from her father, reassuring her that he was still a part of her world, watching over everything, even from the other side. For Sarah, that moment was a turning point. It wasn't just a coincidence. It felt intentional. The sign was clear, and it made her feel a deep sense of peace, like her father was still guiding her. She wasn't sure how it worked or why it happened, but she knew in her heart that it wasn't just a random event. It was a message that connected her to him in a way she couldn't explain, and it gave her the closure she needed to begin healing. Stories like Sarah's aren't rare. In fact, many people report similar experiences. Some see symbols or images that remind them of their loved ones. Sometimes it's a particular bird that shows up at a specific time. Other times it's a coin or a small object that seems to appear out of nowhere. These moments may seem small, but to those who experience them, they can be life-changing. They're moments of profound connection, a reminder that love doesn't disappear when someone dies. Perhaps the most striking thing about these experiences is the clarity with which they hit you. It's not just a fleeting thought or a random feeling. It's a powerful, tangible moment that speaks directly to your soul. It's as if, in that instant, you realize that your loved one's love hasn't vanished. It's still there, reaching out to you, guiding you through your grief. It's a powerful reminder that the connection between the living and the deceased is not as distant as we often believe. But why does this happen? Why do these signs seem to appear at just the right moment, when we need them the most? Is it simply our subconscious mind working overtime? Or could there be something more profound at play? The truth is, we may never fully understand the mechanics of these signs, but that doesn't make them any less real. Sometimes, the most profound truths are the ones we can't explain, the ones that leave us in awe and wonder. In the end, it doesn't matter how these signs appear or whether we can prove their existence with scientific evidence. What matters is the comfort they bring, the peace they offer in times of uncertainty. For those who believe, these moments are more than just signs. They are messages of love, sent from beyond the physical world, reminding us that our loved ones are never truly gone. As we bring all of this together, it's clear that the connection we have with those we've lost is not as fragile as we might think. It isn't bound by time or space, whether it's through dreams, feelings, or unexplained signs. Our loved ones can still reach us, offering comfort, reassurance, and a sense of connection that defies the boundaries of life and death. These moments are not just figments of our imagination, nor are they mere coincidences. They are real, powerful experiences that show us that love truly doesn't end when a person passes away. We've seen how spiritual connections and signs from the other side can manifest in ways that provide us with the comfort we so desperately need. Whether it's a sense of presence, a vivid dream, or a sign that feels impossibly personal, these experiences offer something far more significant than just a fleeting comfort. They remind us that the love we shared with our loved ones isn't gone. It's still here, and it continues to shape our lives in meaningful ways. And while there may be moments of doubt, moments when we question if what we're experiencing is real, the truth remains. These signs, these experiences, are a testament to the unbreakable bond of love. They remind us that the soul is not confined by the physical body, and that the connections we form in life don't vanish after death. They transform, they evolve, but they remain. This isn't just some comforting idea. It's a truth that resonates deeply with countless people who felt the presence of their loved ones, heard their voices in dreams, or received the smallest of signs at just the right moment. For anyone struggling with loss, these signs can provide a lifeline. They offer a glimmer of hope, a reminder that while death might take away the physical presence of a person, it can never erase the love shared. These experiences, as subtle as they may seem, offer profound insights into the nature of life, death, and the afterlife. They challenge us to reconsider everything we know about existence, about the soul, and about the enduring power of love. If you've ever felt the presence of someone you've lost, or if you've received a sign that made you pause and wonder, could it really be them? You are not alone. You're part of a much larger story, one that has been unfolding throughout human history. People from all walks of life, from all cultures, have shared similar experiences, each finding their own way to make sense of the connection that continues to exist between the living and the dead. So, what's the takeaway from all this? It's simple. Love doesn't end. The bond you shared with your loved one isn't bound by death. It transcends it. And while we may never fully understand how it works, we can take comfort in knowing that, just as God has shown us through countless stories, our loved ones are never truly gone. They're with us, watching over us, guiding us through the journey of life, just as they always have. This truth may not be fully explainable, but it's real. And sometimes, the most profound truths are the ones that are felt rather than understood. Hold on to that feeling, because it's the message that love never dies. It only changes form. If this video resonated with you and brought you a sense of peace, then make sure to hit that subscribe button for more stories and insights about love, faith, and the mysteries of the afterlife. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Thank you for watching, and remember, your loved ones are never really gone.